Hello, it's Cliff Hope from the Caritas House gardening team again. I've been asked to make another video, so that's coming up now. I've just completed one of my least favourite jobs of the year, which is cutting back this hedge between our garden and our neighbours. This hedge is mainly cherry laurel. I didn't plant it. Cherry laurel is often sold as a hedging plant, although in my opinion it's a poor choice. It has very large leaves, which means when you cut it with hedge cutters you end up with chopped off ends. It looks though it's been cut with a knife and fork. Plants with very small leaves are a much better choice as hedging plants, or better still, native plants like blackthorn or hawthorn, that kind of thing. Advantages of cherry laurel are that it's evergreen and it's virtually indestructible. The disadvantages are that it looks horrible. It's just a featureless green blob. It's also an invasive species now. It's drought tolerant, it'll take low light levels, which means it grows anywhere. We have a wood at the end of our garden and there's cherry laurel growing all over the place, and that suppresses native plants. If you cut cherry laurel into a hedge shape, it's unlikely you'll get any flowers, but if you leave them to grow they will get very large indeed, and then they produce these white flowers, and in the autumn some black berries that look a bit like cherries, hence the common name. I've taken all the cuttings, shredded them, put them on the compost heap. That produces a strong smell of almonds, which, as anyone who's read an Agatha Christie novel will know, is a telltale sign of cyanide. The whole plant is poisonous, the leaves, the berries, poisonous to humans, not to blackbirds. They love the berries, they eat them, that's why they shed the seed all over the place, and we have cherry laurel growing everywhere. Before doing any work on a hedge at this time of the year, from spring, March, right the way through to August, it is absolutely imperative that you check it for any birds' nests that are in there, and don't disturb them if there's birds nesting. Obviously that's very poor for the environment, and that's also illegal. It's fairly rural where we live, which means we often get visits from wildlife, deer and badgers and foxes and things at night. As you can see here, Mr. Badger's been overnight. This bed had potatoes in it last year. We didn't get to eat very many of them, the badger had most, and he's remembered there are potatoes in here and comes back frequently to dig it up looking for more. At least he sticks to the gap in the middle and doesn't disturb the garlic or the onions on either side. I'm planting out some sunflowers that I grew from seed earlier on, one seed per module here. This is a variety called Valentine, pale yellow with a very dark centre. Let's just take those out. You plant, just tease out the roots a little bit so they don't stay in the shape of the module in which they grew in the first place. Doesn't matter if you break a few roots. It's a bit like pruning a plant. If you break them, you just induce more growth at the point of the break. So, this ground is incredibly dry. After the winter that we had, when it seemed to rain for weeks on end, I can't believe that I'd be praying for rain now, but we could really do with a good downpour. A few more to do. I'll give them a good water, see how they do in the months to come. I thought I'd show you the tomatoes and the chilies and the peppers that I potted up, or started popping up at the beginning of the last video. Here they all are in my greenhouse. I've got far too many, far more than I can possibly plant in my garden. I normally grow some for friends and relatives as well, but obviously this year I may not be able to see them in time to pass them over. And on this side, remember the peas that I planted up? They're just beginning to poke through now. It's time to cut back any unruly early flowering shrubs. This is an osmanthus, which was in full flower a few weeks ago. It's got quite large now. I just want to take it down a little bit. People sometimes ask what's the right time to prune a shrub, and the general answer is once it's finished flowering. So this is an early flowerer, so I've just left it alone. It's got some large spikes on it, but these were full of flowers earlier on. There's still a few left on here. If I'd tidied this up in the autumn by cutting all these back, I wouldn't have had all those flowers. So wait until it's finished flowering, cut it back now, it will grow again during the year, and I'll have another display of flowers next spring. So what I'll do, I want to take these down, these long ones, I'm going to take them quite low, so that will generate new growth down here, which will grow up during the year to give me the similar sort of height next year. Whenever you're pruning, always prune just above a node. So on a branch like this, you have a stem, and at points on the stem, these are called nodes, which is where leaves or flowers or new branches like this will appear. In between the nodes, nothing much happens. So if I were to cut this there, then I would have basically just a dead twig showing there. Nothing's going to happen. That will probably die back. It will look horrible. So when you prune, always prune just above a node, like so. Actually, I'm going to cut this one a bit lower down by this node here where it was branching earlier on. This one here, also a bit too large. I'll take that one down to there. This one, take that down to that one off there. The advantage of going low down is that you see less of these cut ends. In fact, I'm going to take this one a bit further back. So you don't have ugly stem tops showing. There. So all the cuts that I've made are hidden by the other lower growing leaves, and it doesn't look as though it's been hacked too much. I hope you found that interesting. As before, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'll do my best to answer them. See you next time.